I have recently acquired quite a few new cream blushes in PR, and instead of testing them out one by one in my chopping block series, which is how I typically test out new makeup, I figured it would be more beneficial to test them out side by side all at once, not only for myself, but also just for anyone who's curious about these products. In order, the 4 blushes I'll be testing out today are the IT Cosmetics Glow with Confidence Sun Blush in the shade Sun Blossom 20, the Sigma Cream Blush in the shade Pashmina, the Sachu Cheek Stain in the shade I'm Guilty, and the Wonderskin Phlush Stick, Phlush spelled with a PH, in the shade Blushed. Out of the 4 I'm testing out today, I think the Wonderskin one is the one that's most likely going to create a stain effect on my cheeks, so I'll test that one out last. And I don't have anything on my cheeks today. I have some foundation on, and I'll apply the blushes on one side with a brush and on the other side with a sponge. Let's bring you a little closer. Like I said, I have foundation on, but I don't have any powder or anything, and I'm going to start with the brush side. I have tested this out once before and it seemed like it was really pigmented, so I'm going to try to only pick up a little bit. I'm going to pat a little bit on the back of my hand just in case I put too much on. This retails for $34 and it comes in 5 shades. From what I'm seeing, it looks like they all run relatively warm. Like there's not like a big mix of different types of colors. They're all kind of just different levels of depth of like a peachy red. I remember Julia Adams talking about this blush, and she said that it feels cooling on the skin when you first apply it, and I agree. It's got like a cooling effect to it. But it doesn't feel minty or mentholy, you know? It seems like it's relatively easy to build. And the Sun Blossom shade looks kind of peachy on me. So that's what the first layer looks like. I am gonna build up just a little bit more to see how bold it can get. It can get pretty bold. I don't think I would apply this heavy of an amount just on my own, but I really wanted to give you an idea of what it looks like. I think it looks pretty nice. It doesn't have a ton of shine to it. It leaves a more satin finish, maybe closer to a soft matte. Doesn't feel really sticky or heavy, and that's a pretty color. I was worried that this would pull too orange on me personally, but it seems to work really well. I'm going to apply a little bit with my finger, and that seems to give a much heavier swatch. Okay, let me use a sponge to blend that out. And this is described as both a blush and a bronzer. I don't know if I'm seeing that with this shade in particular. I wouldn't wear a bronzer that warm. Blend it out really easily, which is great. Let's build up a little bit more. And the IT Cosmetics website recommends using this with a blush brush or with your fingers to blend it in. They don't specifically recommend using a makeup sponge. It doesn't feel heavy, but it's certainly not one that dries down. So me personally, I would set it with a translucent powder on top just to make sure that I don't have any creaminess moving around on my face throughout the day. I tend to get really oily, so I like to powder all my cream products down. I don't go for warm blushes like this too often, but I can see the appeal. I think that looks pretty, and I like that it's not too shimmery or shiny. It kind of just helps add like a creaminess to the skin without being over the top. I like that, and it felt cool when I first applied it, but it doesn't feel tingly or anything afterwards. It doesn't feel like anything. This is what the texture of it looks like after putting my brush in it and also my finger in it. It feels like a hybrid between a mousse and just a regular creamy product. So it's not fully whipped feeling, but it does have a lighter texture than just a traditional cream blush. It's been sitting on my skin for a few minutes. I think it's settled in nicely. It doesn't accentuate my pores or give me an unnatural shine. I think it does look like a really nice natural flush. I'm gonna go wipe off my cheeks and start over for the next blush. Next up is Sigma Pashmina. I was really excited about this because it reminds me a lot of a blush that I've had for a really long time. It's my oldest blush in my collection, Makeup Revolution Beloved. They don't look exactly the same in the pan, but I figured being a cream blush, it's likely going to soften a little bit once I actually apply it. So let's do a side-by-side swatch on the back of my hand so you can see. Never mind. This one is Beloved by Makeup Revolution, and this is Pashmina from Sigma. They are a little different, actually. That's a shame. They're really close, though. Eventually, I will want to find a dupe for that Beloved shade. Again, I'm going to start with the brush side. That looks pretty pigmented, yeah, okay. Brush side first. This retails for $34 too and has 4 shades. Okay. I mean, it blends relatively easily, maybe not as easily as the It Cosmetics one, and you have to be a little more careful with it because you can build it up much faster than the It Cosmetics one. But it still is shearing out. I'm gonna go in with my finger and then a sponge to blend it out as well. So this cream blush is described as having a radiant dewy flush of color. Normally I'm not the biggest fan of really dewy blushes. It's described as long wearing and having a lightweight texture, and they recommend using a blush brush with it as well. This one's very brightening. I like it. I'm gonna put some on my nose. I forgot to put some of the It Cosmetics one on my nose. Don't mind my glasses marks. I was wearing glasses all day and then put contacts in to film. I wouldn't say it goes really well with my golden yellowy eyeshadow, which by the way, that's from the ColourPop Limoncello palette. I'm wearing this shade Touring all over my lid. It definitely pulls more yellow on me than it does in the pan. I feel like the finish of this is really similar to the It Cosmetics one, where it's not incredibly dewy or glowy looking. It just kind of adds a sheen. Doesn't feel heavy on my cheeks, which is a plus for me because I don't like heavy feeling cream products on my face. Again, I put on a little bit more than I normally would just to help you better see on camera how that color looks on my cheeks. But it blended out nicely. I think that's a beautiful color. Definitely a color I would wear when I want my blush to be like the main focal point of my makeup. I'm as zoomed in as I possibly can be. I want to try to show you as much detail as I can. I mean, it definitely looks like too much. It looks like a straight sunburn on me, but I applied too much on purpose so that you could really see it. You don't have to build it up to be this intense. When it comes to blushes, I'm not as particular about the formula as I am about the color. And so when it comes to formula and how it feels, I kind of like the It Cosmetics one a little better. It just feels more interesting, and I like working with moussey products. As long as a blush isn't too like sparkly or in a shade that I would never want to wear, I'm usually fine with it, you know, like I can find ways to make it work. It also can't be like heavy and goopy feeling, like it can't feel like it's trapping the heat in my skin. You know what I mean? Like sometimes products just do that and I hate that. Okay, on to the next one. The sun has moved a tiny bit, so I think I look a little paler than I did in my previous clips, but that's kind of just the risk you run when you use natural sunlight. Next up is the Sachu Cheek Stain. This one's the most affordable out of the ones I'm talking about today. It's $18 and it comes in 6 shades. I was able to choose the shade that I wanted for this, and I chose I'm Guilty, which is a nude mauve. That's just the kind of color I always gravitate towards. Looking back, I probably could have been a little bit more adventurous with my choice, and just to give you an idea of the size of this product, here is the Natasha Denona concealer next to it. And then this is what the lip stains look like next to it as well. Because it can kind of be hard to tell what size things are just looking at them online. Anyway, it's brand new. I haven't even pushed the product to the cap yet. And it says, pro tip, when using the product for the first time, you'll need to twist the base several times until the blush reaches the applicator. So it's got a quickie. Yeah. It's getting a little bit harder to push. Oh, jeez. Oh, no. Oh, did I just break it? I can't tell, but do you see that little gap? That was not like that before, but now it's easier to click. It's not as hard to twist now. Before it was a lot more difficult. Oh, see, it's coming out more now. What did I do? Hold on, let me try to screw it back in. It's like not even clicking anymore. Yeah, from the videos I'm seeing of other people using it, it doesn't look like that part's supposed to come off at all. I must have just been too rough with it. I broke it. That's the color. It's pretty. I wonder if I can put it back in somehow. How did they put this together? Oh no. Truly, I have no idea how to salvage this. I really don't know. I'm gonna scrape off what I can and put it in this container. Like, I'm being so messy right now. I'm trying not to waste the product, but it's just... All right, I was able to get some in this container here. Not a lot. I'm sure there was so much left that I just couldn't get out. So I'm gonna try to apply this. I'll start with the brush. I may have just grabbed too much, so I'll put that on the back of my hand. That's a beautiful color. Really like these types of shades. It's very liquidy. And it's blending, but it's keeping most of its pigment still. So I'm actually gonna wipe off my brush. Try to go in and soften that a tiny bit. It's a really pretty color. I'm gonna take what was on the back of my hand there and use that to try and apply on the other side. And then grab a little bit with my finger. Pretty color. This one is the most liquid of all the blushes that I'm talking about today. Makes sense given the applicator and the type of formula that it is. Very pigmented. I really liked that color. That's a beautiful shade. I'm gonna try to build it up a little bit more on this side. It's very, very pigmented. Again, I would use like a fraction of this if I were applying it in real life, and I wouldn't be blending it out this much to cover this much of my cheek. This one doesn't seem to offer any extra glow, just kind of matches the finish of my skin naturally with my foundation. I don't know how easily I'm gonna be able to keep this because it is super messy. Yeah, we'll have to see. Hopefully I can keep this and continue using it because it's really pretty. I feel bad I didn't even get to use it the way that the brand intends you to use it with the sponge tip applicator. I forgot to turn my ring light on for the other two. This is what it looks like with the ring light. Again, this is the brush application and this is the sponge application. It looks more dewy with this ring light on because it just bounces a lot of light back. I don't think it looks as dewy in real life. It's very lightweight, it doesn't feel like anything, and it just feels like unset skin. It doesn't feel heavy or gloppy. I really like that. It's a shame I broke the packaging so soon. Let me know if you've had the same experience with your Sachu blush. I looked it up online real quick. It doesn't seem like anyone else has had that problem, so I really do think it was me, and I was just being too rough with it. All right, now on to the fourth and final blush today, the one from Wonderskin. And for reference, I wash my makeup brush after every application, and I'm using a clean new brush every single time. So I'm working with fresh tools with each new blush. This one I'm really not sure about because it says it's one of those pH adjusting products. So it says it gives you a personalized flush on the cheeks, lips, and lids, meaning you can use it all over your face. And it says it reacts to your unique chemistry to deliver a flawless rosy hue. Flawless Flush Custom Rosy Hue. I have heard some things about pH adjusting stuff in general, and there's a chemist I follow that has talked about it before and how it's not really adjusting to your color in any special way. It's just something that kind of changes color. And it'll look different on everyone because everybody has a different skin tone to start with. And from the photos and the before and afters, like I think it's gonna pull really bright on me, which is not a problem. I just don't know what's the best way to get this on my cheeks. Should I just like draw it on? I don't know. I'm gonna start with the brush. It's not the densest brush out there, so I might have to really get in there to grab some stuff. It's already turning my brush pink. Okay. I'm gonna go back in, grab some more. That's really pretty. It's really bright. Kind of like that. Okay, I'm gonna try to put it on and blend it with the sponge. Maybe if I work quickly, it won't just stay in that spot. Nope. Nope, it tends to just stay in that spot. Okay. So I'm gonna grab some with my sponge, kind of like draw on the sponge and then use that to apply and see if that helps. It's kind of hard to get it from the sponge onto my skin. Just requires a little more building. I'm looking for instructions on the website and I'm not seeing anything about like how you should apply it. People are drawing it directly on their face. I don't know if I would recommend that, just because I feel like it acts a lot like what I see those milky jelly tints act like, where it kind of sticks to that one spot and doesn't really blend out. I'm also gonna try my fingers just to see. Yeah, I feel like using your fingers is also better than just directly swiping it on your face. I think this is pretty. It's not as scary as I thought it was gonna be. I'm gonna build up some more here. And finish-wise, I would say out of the 4 blushes, this one is the most glowy and kind of gives that like juicy candy apple effect, which is really pretty. Not how I'm gonna just let my cheeks stay if I were to do a full face, which I'm probably going to do because I want to film another video after this. I would very much put powder over this, but I'll use a translucent powder. I'm going to use the RCMA powder because that one I find like doesn't change the color underneath as much. Some like skin tone powders can change the color of the blush underneath. You can see it kind of just mellows it out a little bit and then helps give me more of a set look, which I prefer. Most pH adjusting products do change the color in that way. I'm gonna try to put it on my lips and see what that does. Okay. It's really large. It's much larger than a lipstick, so just be careful. Kind of feels like a really thin lip balm. I'm feeling a tingle. Okay, I feel a little tingle on my cheeks. And I thought maybe it was because I had applied and removed and then put foundation on and then applied blush and then removed. Like I had done that 3 times before this. But no, there is something in it that feels tingly, like cooling. Yeah, it just says it's cooling and refreshing on the skin, but it doesn't say what exactly is doing that. It still feels tingly. I don't know how much I love that, honestly. I'm gonna try to wipe off the lip product to see if it stains. Oh yeah. I like that. I like that it stains. I'm gonna try to apply more and see how. I like that it has a staining effect on your cheeks too, because I think, especially in the summertime, my makeup doesn't last very long. I kind of just get oily, and I think the blush is one of the first things to go, which is often why I use liquid lipsticks as cream blushes. And often I'll put, well, pretty much every day for a long time, I'll put a cream blush underneath and then a powder blush on top. And I feel like that helps it last longer. I'm gonna really build it up on my lips to see if I can get like a really beautiful, like Snow White lip effect. I am taking a point off though for it being tingly. I'm not sure I really love that. I don't mind a tingle, a subtle tingly feeling on your lips, but on my cheeks it just feels weird and it doesn't feel like it's going away. Like I've had this on for a couple minutes now and it still feels like that. Love it as a lip color. And the fact that it stains and does a pretty good job of it too. That's great. That's wonderful for like, you know, parties or places where you're gonna be like drinking and eating and talking a lot. I'm gonna put some gloss on top. So bright, so beautiful for summertime. So let's do a quick recap. My favorite color was definitely the one from Sachu. That was just a really beautiful color that was even more beautiful than I thought it was going to be. Formula, I really liked how the IT Cosmetics one felt. I like that it was more of a whipped formula. The Wonderskin one I feel like I like better on my lips than I do on my cheeks. I mean, I do like it, but it's a bit brighter than I typically go for. I like it on my cheeks, I just don't appreciate that tingly feeling, that cooling sensation. It's still there. The Pashmina shade is also really beautiful, great spring summer color. They all blended nicely. I liked how they all felt on my cheeks. The one from Wonderskin was the one that gave the most like glowy effect, but it doesn't feel heavy. It feels incredibly lightweight actually. I like that. I'm checking in a few hours later. I just wanted to show you what the lip stain looks like after a few hours. I had dinner, kind of relaxed for a little bit, and this is what it ended up looking like after a while. So it doesn't seem like the type of lip stain to stay all day on your lips. It still is on my cheeks, and when I looked in the mirror downstairs, it was very bright. I did put a lot on for the sake of the video, but just keep that in mind. Sometimes you think it looks okay and it's a lot. So just wanted to check in really quickly and let you know that. I really feel like I got a much better idea of how these work and how I like to use them, comparing them side by side. I think I'm gonna do this with other products too. I know for sure I wanna do a showdown with all of my purple powders soon. And yeah, it's kind of just an easier way for me to better understand the products that are coming in, especially if I have a lot of the same product coming in at once. What do you think? Which one was your favorite? I wanna know your thoughts, especially if you've tried any of these yourself. But in the meantime, that's everything I have. Thank you so much for joining me, and I'll see you in my next video.